All right, time to dive in. Today, we're plunging headfirst into the world of harvest divers.
But this isn't just about exploring coral reefs. We're talking interview prep, folks. Gearing you up to snag that dream job.
So picture this. You're sitting across from the hiring manager, maybe even catching a whiff of that salty air, and they hit you with what inspired you to become a harvest diver.
And it's got to be better than, well, I like the water.
Right. Nobody's buying that.
It's about finding that genuine spark, that thing that goes beyond just enjoying a day at the beach. Maybe it was a childhood memory, a documentary you saw.
Oh, or even like a conservation project you were part of.
That's it.
Something with some real oomph behind it. And speaking of, our guide mentions connecting your story to the company's values.
Yeah, do your homework.
Did they mention anything about sustainable harvesting that clicks with you?
Because weaving that in, that shows you're not just there for any diving gig. You're invested in what they stand for.
It's like saying, I get you. All right, so you've nailed the passion part. But what about skills? Question 2 throws a bit of a curveball. What are the essential skills for a harvest diver? Now, this one might seem obvious.
Yeah, but don't fall into the trap of just listing off the basics.
Right.
Of course, scuba certification, knowing your way around marine life, all that's crucial. Our guide even mentions equipment maintenance.
Essential stuff.
But here's the thing. Don't forget those soft skills.
Ah, those behind-the-scenes skills that can make or break you.
Exactly. Think about it. You're working underwater. Communication is key. But you can't exactly pull someone aside for a chat.
Right.
You're relying on hand signals, maybe even dive slates. That takes a whole other level of communication.
And it shows you can adapt. Think on your feet. Which, let's be real, is golden in any job, let alone one where you're dealing with the unpredictable nature of the ocean.
Speaking of unpredictable.
Oh yeah, let's talk about challenges.
Bring on the deep dive.
Question 3. What do you see as the main challenges harvest divers face? They want to know you've thought beyond the brochure.
Exactly.
The guide mentions things like rough weather, equipment hiccups, even the occasional run-in with, shall we say, less than friendly sea life.
Right, but it's not about listing every scary what-if scenario. It's about showing you can handle the heat.
You know, stay calm under pressure.
Because everyone faces challenges, whether you're diving for scallops or stuck in a board meeting.
It's all about how you roll with the punches, right?
Exactly. So maybe you haven't stared down a grumpy octopus. Or maybe you have. But have you had to change plans last minute? Troubleshoot a problem with limited resources?
That's what they want to hear. Okay, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about sustainability.
It's more than a buzzword. It's crucial.
Absolutely. It's the future of our oceans. And it's clear from the guide that interviewers are taking this seriously.
They are.
So when they ask, and they will, how do you ensure harvesting is done sustainably? This is your time to shine.
Shine, but I care about the environment isn't going to cut it. You got to go deeper. Show them you understand the impact of over-harvesting.
The why behind the what, right?
Exactly. That's where knowing those sustainable practices comes in. Brush up on terms like bycatch.
Bycatch?
Yeah, the unintentional catch of, species you weren't targeting. And be ready to discuss its impact.
This is even a good spot to slip in a personal story. Maybe you support a local conservation group, or you've made some eco-conscious choices in your own life.
Ooh, I like that.
It adds that human touch.
Shows them you're walking the walk, not just talking.
Speaking of which, before we get into the next batch of questions, I want to touch on something that can really up your game.
You talking about RoleCatcher?
Ding, ding, ding. It's more than just a job board. Think of it like a career coach that fits in your pocket.
Seriously, it can be a game changer, especially when it comes to nailing those interview answers.
We'll circle back to how RoleCatcher can help you craft the perfect responses a little later. But for now, let's see.
All right, folks. Let's come up for air for a sec, then dive right back into those interview questions.
Love it. I'm ready for round 2. What's next on our list?
Question 5. Safety. Huge in the diving world, right? They might ask, how do you ensure your safety during a harvest?
It's their way of knowing you're not just comfortable in the water, but that you're responsible, thinking ahead.
Exactly. It's one thing to dive, it's another to dive smart.
Our guide really stressed pre-dive checks, making sure your gear's good to go. And understanding those decompression limits, no one wants to mess with the bends.
For real. And don't underestimate the buddy system. It's not just a suggestion. It can be a lifesaver out there. Communicating with your buddy, with the surface team, that's key.
You're painting a picture here, and it really highlights how important communication and teamwork are.
Essential. Okay, ready for a curveball? Question 6 asks, how do you handle running into, well, marine life that's not part of the harvest?
So they're checking if you're just there to grab and go, or if you respect the whole ecosystem.
Bingo! It's all about balance, right? You've got a job to do, but you got to be a steward of the ocean, too.
So what's the protocol if you bump into a curious sea turtle or a school of fish that's not on the menu?
Admire them. From a distance, of course. No disturbing, it messes with the ecosystem, and honestly, it could be dangerous for you, too. We're visitors in their home, right?
And our guide was big on knowing the local rules about protected species.
Totally. You don't want to accidentally harass an endangered seahorse or anything. Gotta know those underwater rules of the road.
Love it. Okay, question 7. This one's about storytelling. Tell me about a time you had to work in tough weather.
Here's where you brought the experience to life. Even if you haven't faced a full-on underwater hurricane, it's about showing you can adapt.
Yeah, maybe it was a bad visibility, strong currents, a sudden weather change.
Exactly. But don't just tell the story. Walk them through your process. How'd you assess the situation? What steps did you take? What was the outcome?
It's like you're showing them you can navigate choppy waters, literally.
I like it. Okay, sticking with teamwork. Question 8 dives into communication. Specifically, how do you communicate with your team during a harvest?
Well, you can't exactly shout across a reef, right? So how do you get your message across when you're underwater?
Time to show off those specialized communication skills.
Mhm.
Hand signals are key, maybe using a dive slate, having a solid briefing before you even get wet.
Right, you don't want to mix up the I'm low on air signal with the wow, giant squid signal.
Exactly. And make sure you come across as adaptable, a team player, someone willing to adjust their style to keep everyone informed.
Okay, question 9 takes a bit of a turn. It's about those sometimes tricky team dynamics. They might ask, tell me about a time you worked with a difficult teammate.
And remember, it's not about throwing anyone under the bus.
Right,
It's about showing you can handle interpersonal stuff with, professionalism.
Because let's be real, being stuck on a boat or underwater with someone having a bad day, that can test anyone.
Tell me about it. But this is your moment to highlight those soft skills again. Patience, clear communication, conflict resolution. Did you find common ground? Maybe adjust your style.
Showing them you can keep things positive and productive, even when it's tough.
Exactly.
Now, for our final question, we're going big picture again.
Love it.
Question 10 reminds us that being a top-notch harvest diver isn't just about what happens underwater. It's about staying in the loop with the industry, especially sustainability.
So true.
They might ask, how do you stay updated on the latest in sustainable fishing? It shows you're invested in your career, but also the health of the ocean.
Big time. And don't just say, oh, I read articles. Go deeper. Are there industry publications you follow? Journal of Aquaculture, Marine Policy?
Attending conferences, workshops.
Yes. All those things show commitment.
And the guide also mentioned certifications, like getting your advanced open water or even rescue diver. Not just building skills, but showing dedication.
Totally. It all comes down to this. You're not just dipping your toes in the water, you're ready to dive in head first. You're prepared, you're responsible, you're a knowledgeable harvest diver.
I love that energy. And speaking of being prepared, let's circle back to RoleCatcher. Remember how we talked about it earlier? This thing can be a game changer, especially for nailing these interview questions.
Oh yeah. It's like having a personalized AI coach in your corner, helping you craft the perfect answers for each job.
Seriously, like a secret weapon. And it's not just about finding the right words, is it?
Right. RoleCatcher, it also lets you practice your delivery. They've got those mock interviews.
Oh yeah, with AI feedback too.
So you can really fine-tune your answers, your body language, everything.
That's like having your own personal rehearsal space.
Exactly. Iron out those kinks, build that confidence.
Because when it comes to interviews, confidence is key.
For sure. Well, folks, I think we've officially explored the depths of harvest diver interviews.
We have covered some serious ground. From that initial spark of passion, all the way to navigating tough situations and staying up to date on sustainability.
We've given you the tools. Now you can rock those interview questions.
Show them you're the perfect fit for this awesome career. But before we jump back on the boat, there's one last thought from our research.
Oh, I like this part.
This one's for you to ponder. As tech gets even more advanced and the need for marine resources keeps growing, what role do you see yourself playing in the future of sustainable harvesting?
That's a good one.
It's about more than just one interview, right? It's about the big picture.
Absolutely. Finding that balance between what we need and a healthy ocean.
So as you set off on this journey, remember, you can make a real difference.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and never lose sight of that passion that brought you here in the first place.
And hey, who knows, maybe one day we'll be diving right alongside you, checking out the wonders of the deep.
Just save some scallops for us.
Ha, deal. Until next time, happy diving, everyone.